Hello, World Civilization 107 class. Welcome to week 5. So, um, right now we have been plowing through a lot. But again, even though we're covering so many different topics, I'm very happy to see that many of you are focusing on enough information to start connecting the dots for the things going on that are important. This week, like many other weeks, covers too much, but there are gems of information to help us understand. For instance, China, the rise of China, the status of China, the way that communism also plays its role in the world. Now, I have a discussion asking why some would want to embrace communism. I want to make very clear I have many students who are refugees, more in more recent history and sometimes from the past, and their families fled communist revolutions and may have a very passionate anti-communism and came from some of those countries like Vietnam or Cambodia, even China. But this still, though, so I want you to understand what I'm trying to say, though, still. I'm not saying, of course, that there's not that set of experiences and opinions. But we still have to ask the question and we still have to analyze and look at how we are where we're at now and how communism would still able to be successful enough to have so many revolutions. In other words, we can talk about whether these things worked or not, or bad or good. That's not so much what I'm trying to explore, but by not understanding how we got here and why there was a strong enough embrace of these ideas, you're not going to understand why the world is where it's at. And I wish we had more time to explore all this, but I think you get the point of what I'm saying. So, having said that, also understanding that there's still this tension with North Korea and South Korea, and it's not a natural separation, and that that there was outside sources at play for making Korea, turning Korea into what it is. It creates a different mindset, in my opinion, about how to look at the Korean situation. And you look at China, the same thing. And I delve into, you're going to see, and I just want to quickly highlight Lee Kuan Yew and Singapore. I was late in the game, even as someone who focused on Asia and the Islamic world, on Singapore and Lee Kuan Yew and the influence that he's going to have on uh, uh, the world, but basically on Deng Xiaoping in China and some of the economic reforms in China, and the way China is going to transform their society's economic system, maintaining their political one, has a lot to do with Lee Kuan Yew. Um, and that needs to be understood. Okay. And Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore also destroy a myth that came from a time that I grew up, which is that free markets require free people, meaning politically free in the sense of liberalism. The idea that you couldn't have authoritarian, like a state that's strong dictatorship or something like a dictatorship, however you want to label it, but not free in the way that we're conceiving of it. And yet Singapore has thrived economically by not operating on a Western liberal capitalist political model. Okay, so important to know. Africa we talk about here as well, and I talked about Rwanda. I don't know the current state of Rwanda. This video could be a little bit behind. Again, though, I just want you to see how even African states have that the world reacts to and gets influenced by these various different other histories. And so I want you to keep that in mind. And also, lastly, I have an interview with someone who was my friend, who literally was my neighbor that I met during the times of COVID, who wrote this book that says the world needs China, and takes a very different approach. He did get it published, and not self-published. He got it published, and he's been to China. Again, uh, a lot of people are gonna n- not accept 100% a lot of what he says, but I wanted to expose you to these things for this reason. Again, also, China is now a powerful alternative to the West in the world, and the West is losing a lot of credibility. And we have to understand that the turn to China and the way that in China inspires a lot of people, despite things that it does that are also like not necessarily everybody's favorite thing, we have to understand what's going on. We have to understand this dynamic and why people are like, why even someone in the Western world would actually write a book like that, right? Like, there's a lot of things going on right now, rapidly, that is shifting, and the way that U.S. power and influence and Western influence is going is also shifting very fast. So I want you to really get a full like flavor of all of that, regardless of where you stand on any of your politics and your views. Okay, okay. So feel free to challenge me with anything. Talk to me. I have Zoom office hours coming up this week, and we'll be in touch. I hope you're all having a blessed week as you start things out, nonetheless.